name's Cipher from Birmingham, and I'm an MC, producer, record label owner, studio owner, engineer, and hip-hop addict. Yeah, I got started in the music business pretty early, really. I grew up basically around the whole sound system culture in like the really early 80s, like as a, I'm talking like 6, 7, 8 selecting vinyls and been around vinyl and decks and equipment. And then as soon as hip hop kind of started around 82 with the message and everything, I really got into the music. So originally I started getting into the whole breakdancing and everything, and as time went on, around about 85 I started DJing. So I was DJing on Pirate Bengal when I was about 12 years old. I did that for around about 3 years, and that's when I started like making beats and stuff like that. I pressed my first vinyl, my first independent record when I was 16 years old, and I used a studio at the time. There's a guy called Sure Shot, and he had a group called the Black Prophets, and I used his studio. So he was a good guy and helped me a lot in those days. And then from there I started doing pressing more vinyls, and around about 96 a collective of us got together. We called ourselves Lyrical Clique, and we started doing more stuff. And around about 98, that's when we started the whole Moorish Delta 7 group, and then we went on to do a lot of tours and do a lot of shows and release like 3 albums together. So by 2001, that the whole MD7 thing had taken off, and because we were of what we were doing, we started having to kind of learn the business. So we started putting on our own shows, and we started putting together our own tours. We recorded our own videos, we distributed our own music, and we were like a fully fledged. That was my introduction into business, is through music. We were a fully fledged company, 7 Entertainment. My influences, my very first influence in hip-hop was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Like, they were the ones who made me, that was the first hip-hop that I ever heard, was them. Message and White Lines and all that. And then as time grew up, I was into breakdancing, so I used to like, Beat Street and breakdancing, all those films, and the Rocksteady Crew and all that, and New York City Breakers. I was into all of the breaking thing. And then when I started to, there's a guy called Goldie, who, he was like, before he was a drum and bass DJ, he was the original UK graffiti artist. He was like the first person that I know who did that. So I was really influenced in the kind of stuff that he did in terms of graffiti art. And when you're talking about the first person to make me want to rhyme was Rakim. So, and then with the beats and everything, I don't know, I just always loved making beats and making the music. So there's a lot of different influences from, even there's new artists and new producers coming out, and I like what they do, so I love every era of hip-hop, and I love every era of music, because every era of music produces something unique. So in terms of who we work with over the years, we work with a lot of different people. I feel privileged really to have met a lot of different artists and worked with them, both from the UK and the US. So there's too many to name really, from the Grave Diggers and people like that to your UK artists who blew up and supporting your Redmans and things like that. So, you know, in terms of working with different artists, you know, and just being part of the movement is something that I love. But I think the highlight is around 2002, 2003, when we were putting on our own shows and filling out our own shows that we've put on successfully and touring, and for people to hear our music and love what we were doing. I think that's the highlight for me. I think that we as MD7, we kind of set a standard, and I'm proud of that. Okay. In terms of who I'd like to work with, any of the new young birds coming up, new MCs, new producers, new DJs. For me, music is something that, as it evolves, I like new sounds. So there's no specific name, just new artists, more artists. You know, I'm pretty open-minded, so I'm pretty approachable, and I'm down to work with a lot of different people. So, from any genre. In terms of the UK and hip-hop and grime scene, I think, to me, right now, it's the best time it's ever been for UK artists. You know, when I remember in the early days when I first started putting out music, it was a challenge to actually get UK DJs to play the music, to support the music. That's why I'm proud of what MD7 did really in getting on MTV, getting a lot of them big DJs to play our music. But now, there's so many UK DJs playing the music, playing it in the clubs, playing it on the radio, it's up on the TV, there's so much material coming out. A lot of it is good. I think it's great times for the UK scene, and I'm glad to have been part of it and be part of it, and I'm glad to see the success of the new younger artists coming through. Like, I congratulate when I see young artists coming through, you know, getting top 10s, getting top 10 singles, top 10 albums. I think that's fantastic. So, if there was ever a time to be an artist in the UK, in making hip hop and R&B and grime and everything, I think it's now. First thing is recognize your talent. You know what your talent is. You know, is your talent in production? Is your talent in DJing? Is your talent in media? Is your talent what? Know your talent. And second thing is be focused. You know, be focused on what you're doing. You know, third, there's no substitute for hard work. You know, the reality of it is the person who's gonna get up, graft, and not just graft today and take off the rest of the week, but graft today. So today you're in the studio, tomorrow you're shooting a video, the next day you're out there, you're handing out your flyers, you're performing. The person who works harder, focused, does their networking, meets different people, get somebody around you who knows the business, not just like the music business, but business, who knows about finance, who knows about marketing. Build a team around you. Make sure you're doing your paperwork right, your PRS, your MC PRS. So you're getting your mechanical royalties, your publishing royalties. Somebody who understands business is important. You've got somebody like that around you. Important, you've got someone to help you with the marketing around you. And if you endeavour and you work hard, you can succeed. You know, you'll at least make and if you'll have an effect upon the scene. People will notice you. You know, so, and you got to be determined. You can't just work hard for like 3 months and think you're gonna grow. Don't get me wrong, it has happened, but the truth is you might have to put in a couple of years hard grind, but it will pay off. You've got to maintain that intensity. You've got to have a level of intensity for a long time. You'll achieve. Well, right now I'm working on a number of projects. I'm working on a producers project where I've produced a lot of different artists from around Birmingham and the UK, and I'm working on my first solo album as an artist. And you know, we've been working on a few of the things which are being on the wraps at the moment that people might see towards the end of the year or the beginning of the next year. So I'm still busy, you know. In terms of who I'm feeling out there and whatever, I'm loving what a lot of artists are doing. I'm glad to see people like Gigs achieve, making street music and achieve. I'm glad to see what Skepta's doing, being independent with no label and out there achieving. Obviously I'm loving what Malik does, do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know, we've been through a lot together, and to see the brothers still setting the pace in terms of what an MC is supposed to be in the UK. I know all of these MCs sit down and watch this brother and write down everything that he does, so I'm very glad to see what he's doing. Trilla, you know, is young Birmingham brother, and he's successful and he's making an impact. He's got all the youngers bobbling to his music, and I love that. And a whole heap of producers out there now that I hear their stuff and I think, boy, they got the fire. So I'm loving what's out there, and long may it continue. Yeah, this is Cipher Jewels, MD7. You're watching 33 TV. Keep it locked, keep updated, yeah? Bless. So I got that pattern now. I'll put a little, just change it up a little bit for the chorus part. Just get something that sounds a little, switch it up a little bit. Together now. Gotta get the drums right first. Cipher Jewels MD7. Long time I do this. Fire.